This is Daniel Simon at Baton Rouge Community College, and this week I'll have another preview of week 6 for the History 11-13 summer course. If you look at the modules right now, of course, in week 6 in Canvas, I am moving on to wrap up ancient Greece, starting on Monday, July 8th. I will have a lecture on Alexander the Great and the rise of Macedonia. This lecture, which there's an announcement, of course, about it right here, it will go into like the background of Macedonia, which kind of emerges at the end of the classical period of Greece. In like Macedonia was in northern Greece where it existed, which developed as a kingdom. Kings like Philip II and Alexander the Great, of course, the most famous ones. So I kind of go into that, and then I kind of discuss how Alexander the Great goes on to conquer most of Greece, and then he'll eventually conquer the Persian Empire, which is really his peak thing he's famous for. But so I've got lectures below right here, including the PowerPoint that goes with it. I do have two different versions of the lecture. I've got the older version right here. I do have a newer version, which has the second exam review in it as well. You'll notice right here the lecture on Alexander the Great will be put with the Roman World Lectures, Roman World Lectures Part 1 and 2 on early Roman history. That's down here below, and that covers more into the early history of the Roman state, which started in ancient Italy, going back to the 8th century BC. And I cover up through the like Roman Republic, and that lecture ends with the period of the rise of Julius Caesar up to like his death in 44 BC. So I'll kind of go through like how the Romans emerged as really a monarchy at first. They had a kingdom, and then it became a republic, and then after Caesar's death, it eventually becomes an empire. So here's the Canvas announcement about watching the early Roman history lectures. I do have two different PowerPoints. Part 1 that covers from the early background of early Roman history, and then it goes up to like around the Punic Wars, and then the second Part 2 when goes from the Punic Wars up to Julius Caesar's time. So I've got different lectures here. I've got like I got one that's like Part 1 and a Part 2. And I do have a combined version as well, if you want to look at that also. So like I said, this particular, those two lectures, Alexander the Great and early Roman history, will be merged into one Canvas quiz number 5, which you see right here below. That'll be due more into the later part or into the semester. So Monday, July 22nd, I think it's one of the dates. That'll probably be extended closer to the end of the semester. So how far that will go when it will be probably due most likely. You can also add comments for the lectures. Don't forget, which you do get bonus points for throughout the semester. So that's kind of a preview of what's coming for week 6. Right now, students should be wrapping up their second exam, which the second exam is mostly on ancient China, but primarily it's ancient Greece is the majority of the actual assessment. So that's something y'all should be working on right now. Don't forget, you do have book reports due at the end of the semester. Friday, July 26th will be the last due date when that assignment will be due. Also, don't forget, you do have those vocabulary assignments. At least the first, second, and third key terms assignments need to be turned in by Friday, July 26th as well. And if you're behind, don't forget you have those bonus projects you can do that are worth 200 bonus points, like the Veterans Project or the Historical Documentary Project. Those are extra points you can earn throughout the semester, along with discussion sections too. So if you had a question about, any kind of lecture or comment about a lecture, do let me know. I sometimes add some comments, questions in there too, in discussions. But that's something you need to, take advantage of, especially as the semester's going. So we're, more than halfway through the semester. And so, time is short at the end. So that's it for now. Next week into week 7, I'll be continuing talking about the Romans. Week 7 will be pretty much about the Roman Empire. So I'll have really a 3-part lecture series coming up on the Roman Empire. That's pretty much going to be what I'm going to have for the final exam. It's going to be, of course, on the Roman Empire. Then in week 8, I'll have some kind of like some bonus lectures I'll kind of give to you, which will be on the Middle Ages for extra credit. I'll give an extra credit assignment usually at the end of the semester. And I'll talk about that later in the rest of the semester. So don't forget, I've got my email above, of course. You can send me, if you got a question about the class, do let me know, of course, throughout the semester. But I'll see you, of course, later in the semester. So everybody take care, of course, for this week. So see you later.